Hi, I'm Anna White, and in this video I'm going to show you how to build this beautiful farmhouse desk just using a drill and a saw. The plans for this project are linked in the description, so don't worry about writing all these cut lists and shopping lists down right now. Just go ahead and enjoy the video. The first thing that I did was cut according to the cut list, and most of this project is 2x4s and 2x2s. I'm using a compound miter saw with a stop block to make my cuts, but you could also use a circular saw or a jigsaw. For assembly, I use a work table with a clamping system. Having a clamping system is amazing, but you can just use a clamp that clamps to your table, or having an extra person around to help hold things is very helpful. I'm using these star-bit self-drilling screws for assembly. The ones I'm using are a little big. I think they're number 10s. I'm going to recommend a number 8 or a number 9 in a 2.5-inch length, just because these were definitely overkill. These are the kind of screws that you could build houses with. I didn't have any trouble with wood splitting, but the screws were definitely hard to drive, and it's not necessary for such a simple project. Make sure you're using glue at all of your joints, and 2 screws to attach the 2x4s and 1 to attach the 2x2. There's both leg sets done. Now at this point I should have put the X bracing in, and I'll have you do that in the plans, but I got a little ahead of myself and started assembling the desk itself. So there's just a 2x2, there's plenty of room for a screw joint on that 2x4 leg. I'm just clamping everything down and driving some screws. Sometimes I'll drive screws at angles just for added strength, as I'm doing here, and this will take out some of the wobbliness. Okay, so really it would have been better to add these X's while it was on the workbench, but I'm going to do it now and show you how I do that. So I just hold my 2x2 up on the end and scribe it with a pencil, and then take it over to my miter saw, adjust it, and cut it. The steeper angle here was about a 36-degree angle, and then I'll test the fit. Once I got one done, I'll repeat those steps to make a second one, and then trace the overlap. And then I'll just remove one of them and reset my saw. Now I think the angle was right at 16 degree, but it could vary, so make sure you test, and then I'll make my cut. If I'm uncertain, what I'll do is cut a little bit off my scribe line, check to make sure my cut is parallel to my line. If it is, go ahead and make that finished cut. This way I'm getting really precise cuts, and I have a second chance to get things right. The reason that you trace the overlap on both 2x2s is so that you can line up your X detailing later on. And then I just go ahead and screw everything together. 1 screw on the top, 1 screw on the bottom, and then some screws in the center. If you have the ability to notch out where the X's cross each other, so in between those pencil marks, notch out 3/4 of an inch, that would make an even better joint and a more beautiful end to your desk, but it does take a little bit more skill. The X detailing added so much strength front to back, it took all the wobble out of the table, but there was still quite a bit of side wobble in the table. So I need something to add some structure and create some lateral support. So I'm using these 1x8s to create a bottom shelf / footrest. You can use screws to attach here if you don't have a brad nailer. If you do have a brad nailer, 1¼ inch nails and glue does the trick. I also nailed and glued the 2 1x8s together. For the top, you can either pocket hole it together or add some additional supports in the top. I'm using 1x12s for the top. I just took an 8-foot long 1x12 and cut it in half. Since I'm going to nail the top on, I'm using glue. You could also screw the top on with some 2-inch long screws. And I start on the back, check my overhangs, make sure they're even, everything's flush to the back, and then just nail it down. So screws are definitely great here, but a nailer is my preference because nails are cheaper, nails are easier to drive, and nails are easier to hide. Screws tend to be stronger but more expensive, harder to hide, and harder to drive. For the stain, I'm using this golden oak color. It's a neutral brown that goes with just about everything. I also added a coat of poly to the top of the desktop so it's easy to wipe clean after I was finished staining it. So the desk is all done. I can't believe how quick and easy this project was. Literally, I made it in just a couple of hours and stained it, and it is extremely sturdy. It is very functional as well. It has this shelf that you can use as a footrest or even put a computer tower on it. It also fits books or other things. The desktop is a nice size. There's only one wood joint in it, so it's easier to use a pen or a pencil or a mouse on the desktop. And it's also so beautiful. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can download the free plans in the link in the description. Thank you guys for subscribing. If you haven't already, take a second to do so. I release a new project video every single week. We'll see you next Monday.